And we're back with the fourth video. Hopefully the last. Okay, so we talked about mosquitoes. Yes, kill them frequently. Again, kill more people than sharks, or bears, or anything else. Okay, outbreaks of diseases. An epidemiologist is somebody that studies the outbreak of disease within a population group. Nobody really knew what an epidemiologist did if you weren't in that circle before COVID. And then all of a sudden, you guys probably don't remember, but your parents do, having to sit there through all of those videos where they would do, the announcement and the governor would come on, and then we had to listen to Dr. Scrace. I think that was his name, who was kind of our head person that would talk about what's going on. Well, he was working with epidemiologists to see, hey, what's going on with COVID and how bad is it in this county and what are they going to do next. A lot of times it is the CDC that's kind of running things. We have a very, how can I put this, strong government agency. World Health, they don't, people could just ignore them if they want. World Health goes in and they're like, oh, we have these recommendations, but they don't really have any teeth to them. They don't have any like, hey, if you don't do this, we're going to do this. CDC does. CDC actually has a crazy amount of power because, I mean, their ultimate goal is national health protection. And so what they're trying to do is they're trying to reduce the spread. If you are into running numbers and you want to work in pathology and you want to be a scientist and you want to, I mean, they really do make an impact, because when bad things happen, CDC is the one that comes running in to see what's going on, because what they're trying to do is contain the spread. A couple really good movies about kind of like what the CDC does is there's one called Contagion. I don't think that there's any bad things in it. I mean, I'm trying to think. Well, this girl like goes and sees her boyfriend instead of going home right to her husband, and then she gets sick, and so guess what? Oh, gee, everybody figures out, because why were you in Chicago, Meredith? But anyway, or whatever her name was. Another one is actually the movie Outbreak. It was from '95, and that scared the crap out of me. It scares the crap out of healthcare workers, because when you look at something like Ebola or something that's like that, we just don't want to have that here. That's why whenever we had the Ebola outbreak, I mean, when people were flying in, we shut down airports, hospitals, everything, because we didn't want it to get out. CDC is the one that goes in and shuts everything down. Endemic is whenever it is within a certain population group or area. So common colds. If we had, we could have a little endemic going on at any given time in Farmington High, just like with a common cold. Okay, it just means a certain population group or area within the general population. Epidemic is whenever it's a widespread outbreak of a disease within a specific population again. And then pandemic is whenever we're looking at large geographic area worldwide. Example would be HIV or COVID with that. Types of diseases, organic disorders. So those have symptoms that we can detect in the body. Physical changes in the body. One of them is chickenpox, with the pox, essentially. We see the rash consisting of hundreds of small blisters. The bad thing with chickenpox right now is a lot of primary docs haven't ever seen it because they're young enough to have been immunized against it. I had chickenpox. I know what they're like. But now it seems that if a kid has a rash, they go, oh my gosh, it's chickenpox. And it could be a handful of other things. Functional disorder is whenever it produces physical symptoms and we don't have a disease or an organic cause, like chronic fatigue syndrome. Chronic fatigue syndrome, is it, do they have an autoimmune disease? What's going on? What's making their body so tired, other than just being a high school teacher and it's a Friday afternoon at 3:00? Haha. Iatrogenic is unfavorable response to prescribed medication. And again, I mean, the example they give is severe burns from radiation. Yeah, sadly enough, when we're doing radiation to kill cancer, sometimes some of the side effects from that, or we get people sick because they're getting radiation burns, and we have to be really careful with those. Idiopathic disease is a disease without a known cause. We don't know what's causing it. Infectious, there's some living pathogenic organism that's causing it. Bacteria and virus are the two biggest. Nosocomial is things that we get in the hospital, okay? Or they used to be things that were hospital acquired. At this point, MRSA has kind of transcended past a hospital acquired infection, that we have so many people that have MRSA that now it's community. Now you can get MRSA and not be in the hospital if somebody was exposed to it in the hospital. Syndromes are signs and symptoms that are grouped together as part of a disease, and that's usually like, there is not, like fetal alcohol syndrome is an example of that, where we just have so many symptoms that point to that disease. It is just like, okay, do they have 5 of the symptoms? Okay, then they've got the disease. The same thing with Down syndrome, where we see a host of symptoms that are impacted with that disease. Metabolic syndrome, that's the big one that we're watching. Medical condition characterized by risk factors. These are people that are overweight. We worry about heart disease. We worry about stroke. We worry about type 2 diabetes. We worry about blood pressure with these people, especially when you look at that person and they have central adiposity, which is they have a lot of fat in the middle, but they got little legs and they got a little upper body. We really worry about that as far as like insulin levels and diabetics, type 2 diabetics. We're worried about cholesterol, but I was reading somewhere and it said that sugar is the new cholesterol. And so, and I would agree with that, where, it used to be doctors were just like focused in on the cholesterol because they were looking at heart healthy. They were looking at maybe lowering the fat that's in the blood and the body. And now, we're looking at like the side effects of just somebody that just eats sugar like they're a hummingbird, Sugar is a very, very caustic to the blood. The blood, it doesn't like a lot of sugar in there. And so that can be spikes in insulin, because if you have a lot of sugar, and then we see, type 2 diabetes develop because the body's like, holy crap, it's like this, never ending cycle. Like, okay, we need a lot of insulin. Now we don't. Now we need a lot of insulin. Now we don't. Now, and it's just this cycle that goes back and forth. Congenital disorders, they were born with it. That's the Lady Gaga diseases. Okay, they exist at the time of birth. Developmental disorders can also happen before birth. Those are birth defects. Malformation, if somebody doesn't have a limb, actually developmental disorder, remember from the movie that we watched and the people had 6 fingers? That's actually a birth defect. Those people love it, but it would be a birth defect because it essentially means that tissue that should have went away between the fingers didn't, or there was an extra one or something. Prenatal risk factors. So we look at mom's health. How was she eating? How was her behavior? Was she drinking a bunch? Was she smoking a lot when she was pregnant? Did she get prenatal care? And was she exposed to anything? Everybody, they say, oh, measles isn't that bad. Oh, measles isn't that bad. Well, I'm sorry, but a measles virus can harm an unborn baby. And so that was always my worry as a school nurse. Anytime somebody was talking about measles, we had, and we could just have a couple of cases in the area. And I was just like, holy crap, who are pregnant teachers? Because we need to make sure that they're a little maybe more protected, because not only are they exposing themselves to that, but they're exposing an unborn child to that as well. Premature birth is birth before 37 weeks. Sometimes those kids can have breathing difficulties. If they know it's going to be early, a lot of times they can give a couple of steroid injections to mom that kind of jumpstart baby's lungs. Heart problems, yes, because again, when we talked about the cardiac system with that first breath, we have those little, or during the last month, I should say, we have those little flaps that close in the heart. And sometimes if the baby's premature, we don't have that happen. Injuries during birth from trauma from the labor delivery, a lot of times it can be a fracture of the clavicle. Those heal quickly. It also could yield cerebral palsy. That sometimes is an injury that happens during the birth process. So aging and death. Aging is a normal progression of the life cycle. Uh-oh, I didn't start my thing. Oops, I'll just finish it out. Aging is normal progression of the life cycle. Eventually ends in death. Cells die. And so during the later portion of life, individuals become increasingly at high risk for developing health problems that they once could fight off no problem. Excuse me. Geriatrics or gerontology, that's the study of medical problems and care for older people. Post-mortem means after death. Okay, mortem is death, post is after. Post-mortem examination is also known as an autopsy. A lot of times they'll do an autopsy if the family wants it done, if there's anything questionable about it, if it seems that it would be the normal progression of whatever disease that person has. You know, a lot of times an autopsy isn't done unless the family requests it. But if it's like, we have some random 25-year-old die that had no medical history of A, B, C, D, or E, and they find him dead and they don't know, then that might be somebody they go, well, maybe we need to do an autopsy and see what happened. Advanced directives. I can't stress this enough for people to have this. It provides guidance for healthcare workers to know what to do if something's going on and that person may need additional services. And again, it just plans for the future medical emergency. Who can make the decisions? So healthcare proxy, that is also referred to as a durable power of attorney for healthcare. That person can make decisions. Doesn't necessarily always have to be the spouse. It could be a family friend. It could be somebody that, sometimes family is not the one. I mean, they might want somebody else to make those healthcare decisions for them because they think more like they do. A living will is also known as physician's orders for life-sustaining treatments. What does somebody want done at the end of life? Are they okay with event, but they're not with CPR? How long would they want to be on event? Those kind of things that make it so much easier for families that don't have to make that call because that person has essentially set that up. And then a do not resuscitate order, also known as a DNR. It just states that we're not going to resuscitate that person. We're not going to do CPR. We're not going to shock that person. We're going to make them comfortable as we can, but we're not going to run a code on that. We're going to allow natural death to happen. And there is some abbreviations related to the human body. A&P is anatomy and physiology. You will hear I'll say A&P all the time, and nobody at the school knew what I was talking about other than Mr. Mitchell and Mr. Colburn. It just means anatomy and physiology. DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid. GP, general practitioner. HD, Huntington's disease. And then we get into the quads. LLQ, left lower quad. LUQ, left upper quad. PA, physician assistant. RLQ, right lower quad. And RUQ, right upper quad. So this concludes week 2. Again, you guys have a couple of apply-its. You've got a couple of quizzes. You have your pronouns quiz. You have your regular quiz, and then you have your test, your Chapter 2 test. Make sure that you're getting that initial post done by Wednesday, and then following up with the classmate by Sunday. If you have any questions, message me or just stop by my room. Have a good week.